Hello, TikTok friends. Good morning. It is Monday, May 20th, and that means it is day 4 of week 3 for me on my health journey, which is being aided by a GLP-1 medication, in my case, Zepbound, tirzepatide. So if you've watched my earlier videos, you know the story. I had a really sort of frightening experience with really high blood pressure, which was deemed resistant hypertension. I've had blood pressure for about 4 years. I'll be 44 years old in July. And my doctors were very concerned because my blood pressure was starting to eke up into that hypertensive crisis mode, meaning that my blood pressure readings were so high that it was putting my overall health at risk, including putting me at risk of having a stroke or a heart attack kind of imminently. So in addition to seeing my primary care provider, I also see a nephrologist, a kidney doctor who treats resistant hypertension. And they both suggested I go on a GLP-1 med, and we decided on Zepbound, and I've been on it for, again, this is day 4 of week 3. So I am really pleased to report that I am one of those lucky and very grateful people who has responded early to this initial dose of 2.5 milligrams. I don't know if I would qualify as a super responder. I've heard people use that terminology, but I don't know if that's even scientific or if there's any particular measurement for making you a super responder, but I am certainly an early responder to the medicine. And that means that I have seen consistent results so far in terms of the positive benefits of the medication. I've had some side effects, but also I am seeing, the main sort of effect of the medication is continuous healthy weight loss in these early weeks. So when I started on this journey, before even going on the GLP-1, I weighed in at 260 pounds and some ounces, can't remember the exact amount, at 5'10". And as of today, I stepped on the scale and I was 244. So that's a 16 plus pound weight loss. I didn't lose all of that on the GLP-1. I lost a little bit of that, shortly after having the really sort of frightening hypertensive crisis that I had with my blood pressure. So I lost maybe 4 or 5 pounds, I guess, before that, maybe a little more than that. And then when I went on the GLP-1, I've kind of lost the balance of that. So, I would say somewhere on the order of, I would say maybe 11, 12 pounds in 3 weeks on the GLP-1, in addition to the other weight that I lost slightly before that. So a total of 16 plus pounds right now. Really, that's a significant, for me, in the first month, amount that I didn't think that I would achieve already. Have I had side effects? Yes, particularly at the beginning of this process. When I first started taking the medication, I kind of had extreme appetite suppression, which was really, now I'm realizing, nausea. I was just feeling nauseous, but I also just wasn't feeling any hunger pangs at first. And so I kind of had to force myself to eat. The nausea was sort of low level. It was never productive. I didn't vomit. I didn't feel anything extreme, but I just had this overall sense of kind of queasiness and sort of trepidation about eating. And that subsided pretty quickly in the second week. So I still will feel nauseous if I overeat or come close to overeating. But in general, I don't walk around nauseous anymore like I did in the first week and a half. So what I am now feeling is mostly the positive impacts of the medication, what it's supposed to be doing, which is the food noise is vastly reduced. There was a period of time where it was completely gone. Now I would say, I have moments where the food noise comes in, but it is not invasive. And I have a hard time interpreting whether it's food noise or just my brain saying, hey, you know what, you need to eat a little bit more. So again, no major urges to snack. And a sort of what I would say is an aversion to some of the foods that I used to want to snack on. I have no real interest in sugary snacks, sweets of any kind. Like, I had ice cream in front of me the other day. My daughter brought it home. I took a spoonful of it and tasted it, enjoyed the flavor, had no interest in eating any more of it. And that's, I think, a good example. There's just not much calling me to snack or eat anything sweet. I'm mostly just craving food, meals, protein, fiber, things of that nature. And so I've just been eating normally. One of the things that I've really enjoyed about being on this medication is I really don't feel a sense of food restriction at all. My body's kind of telling me what I want and what I need, and I'm following that. But nothing is off limits. If I want to taste something, I'll taste it. If I want to eat something, I'll eat it. I went to a Renaissance fair with my kids over the weekend and had some fried dough, a little bit, tiny bit of fried dough, a half of a Bavarian pretzel, some lemonade that was pretty sugary. I yesterday had some rotisserie chicken for lunch with a side of some sort, a little bit of mac and cheese actually on the side. For dinner, I had a bison burger and some French fries, or like poutine style French fries. And I was not expecting to have stepped on the scale this morning and lost any weight, because that felt like an indulgence. I didn't eat a lot of it. I had very reasonable, arguably smaller portions of those foods, but there was no restriction. There was nothing. I looked at the mac and cheese, kind of side-eyed it for a minute and was like, should I be eating you? And I was like, well, I'll just do it. I'll just have it. I'll have as much of it as I can stomach. And the same thing true with the burger. Now, we opted for bison burgers last night because they're much lower in fat than ground beef. The ratio on bison is like 90 lean to 10 fat, as opposed to burgers tend to be much higher than that. And they're high in protein. So I wanted to have a burger, and that was a good solution. I knew that ground beef was probably going to upset my stomach, probably make me burp, probably make me feel some indigestion. So we opted for bison, and I was totally fine. So that's a recommendation I have for you, is if you like beef and you're really missing having hamburgers, you might want to try ground bison, because it tastes almost identical to ground beef. It's less greasy, less fatty, cooks a little faster because of that, I think, to a certain degree, especially if you're grilling it. But if you're looking for that flavor and you don't want to have the sort of negative effects of eating red meat on this type of medication, bison might be a good bet, because I had a pretty good experience with it. And I stepped on that scale this morning and I was 244, and I haven't seen that weight in a while. And I was shocked that I managed to still lose essentially a pound, eating pretty freely, but just eating smaller portions based on what my body was telling me I could handle. So again, I'm really grateful for being an early responder. We'll see what happens when I go back to my PCP this week, in terms of what the next steps are. If I'm, assuming I'm staying on the 2.5 dose for another month, and then hoping to titrate up to 5, and we'll see what happens in terms of shortages, debating whether or not I should be looking into compound as a backup to the branded medication because of the shortages. I don't want to stop this medication, and I don't want to be stuck at 2.5 if at some point it stops yielding positive benefits. So making some personal decisions there about what I'm willing to invest financially in order to be able to continue to have the positive experience I'm having so far on this medication. My blood pressure is vastly improved. I'll find out if there's improvement in my blood labs that I'm going for tomorrow morning, including a full lipid panel, an A1C test, and a hormone test for both my PCP and my nephrologist. So should get results from that in a couple of days, and I'll update you if I'm seeing improved labs as well as improved weight. But the number on the blood pressure cuff is showing some improvement, and I'm really grateful for that. So with that, I'm going to wrap up, get back to my work day here. I'm taking a few minutes to update you, and I'm going to have my breakfast, which is my protein shake. I drank a pretty big Starbucks coffee this morning. I got about a third of it left, so I'm going to pour my 30 milligrams protein shake into the rest of that cup, mix it up, and sip on that this morning as my breakfast, and keep on keeping on. So thanks to the GLP-1 community on here for embracing each other, and for supporting each other, and for being an excellent source of information for me, who is fairly new to this experience. Ask me any questions you might have in the comments. I'm happy to answer, and I'm looking forward to engaging with you all as we continue this journey together. Have a great day.